Priestley's lasting reputation in science is founded upon the discovery he made on 1st August 1774 when he obtained a colorless gas by heating red mercuric oxide. Finding that a candle would burn and that a mouse would thrive in this gas, he called it diphlogisticated air based upon the belief that ordinary air became saturated with phlogiston once it could no longer support combustion and life. Priestley was not yet sure, however, that he had discovered a new species of air. The following October, he accompanied his patron Shelburne on a journey through Belgium, Holland, Germany, and France, where in Paris he informed the French chemist Antonio Lavoisier how he obtained the new air. This meeting between the two scientists was highly significant for the future of chemistry. Lavoisier immediately repeated Priestley's experiments and between 1775 and 1780 conducted intensive investigations from which he derived the elementary nature of oxygen, recognized it as the active principle in the atmosphere, interpreted its role in combustion and respiration, and gave it its name. Lavoisier's pronouncements of the activity of oxygen revolutionized chemistry. Priestley did not accept all of Lavoisier's conclusions and continued in particular to uphold the phlogiston theory, convinced that the French chemists were imposing their beliefs on the scientific community in ways similar to the Anglican establishment of religious and political dogma. Priestley's dissenter leaning strengthened his opposition to Lavoisier's new system of chemistry. To clarify his position, in 1800 he published a slim pamphlet, Doctrine of Phlogiston Established and that of the Composition of Water Refuted, which he expanded to book length in 1803. The Doctrine of Phlogiston provided a detailed account of what he envisioned to be the empirical, theoretical, and methodological shortcomings of the oxygen theory. Priestley called for a patient, humble, experimental approach to God's infinite creation. Chemistry could support piety and liberty only if it avoided speculative theorizing and encouraged the observation of God's benevolent creation. The phlogiston theory was suppressed by Lavoisier's oxidation theory of combustion and respiration. Joseph Priestley Wedgwood plague science was an important part of Priestley's rational Christianity. In Institute of Natural and Revealed Religion 1772-74, he described how he rejected the gloomy Calvinist doctrines of the natural depravity of man and the inscrutable will of a vengeful God. Priestley used psychologist and liberal Anglican David Hartley's doctrine of association of ideas to support his view that mankind's perfectibility was the inevitable consequence of a growing awareness of man's place in a deterministic system of benevolence. In an history of the corruptions of Christianity, 1782, Priestley claimed that the doctrine of materialism, determinism, and socialism unitarianism were consistent with a rational reading of the Bible. He insisted that Jesus Christ was a mere man who preached the resurrection of the body rather than the immortality of a non-existent soul. 1765, he was awarded an LLD from the University of Edinburgh for his educational and literary accomplishments at Warrington. These included his writings on theory of language and universal grammar, 1762, an essay on a course of liberal education for civil and active life, 1765, and lectures on history and general policy prepared at Warrington but not published until 1788. Priestley used the doctrine of association of ideas to support his views on language, history, and education as well. In particular, he based what he deemed to be the correct use of language on the customary association of ideas. He also employed teaching techniques that were based on the experience of his students and were designed to prepare them for a practical life. Priestley united theory and practice in his work in politics in 1767. He became involved in the dissenters' national struggle against the Trust and Corporation Act 1661 that restricted their civil and political liberties in an essay on the first principles of government 1768. He argued that scientific progress and human perfectibility required freedom of speech, worship, and education. As a proponent of laissez-faire economics developed by the Scottish philosopher Adam Smith, Priestley sought to limit the role of government and to evaluate its effectiveness solely in terms of the welfare of the individual. The English economist and founder of utilitarianism, Jeremy Bentham, acknowledged that Priestley's influential book inspired the phrase used to depict his own moment, the greatest happiness of the greatest number.